Good morning, students. I'm Monica from Let's Tech. We thank Christian College for giving us this wonderful opportunity to conduct the session on ethical hacking. Before we jump into our session, I would like to give a brief introduction regarding our organization. So, Let's Tech was established in 2011, and we have nearly 200 active customers, and we are a ISO certified company. So basically, Litstech has two line of businesses, and one is where we give software solutions and digital marketing and brand consultant, and the other is the Learn IT Zone, where we conduct internships and sessions like this. So these are mission, vision, and our values. And as I said before, these are our services: web design development, software development, mobile app development, e-commerce, digital marketing, and etc. So let's go into the session. So how to become a hacker? This is just an overview on what you should basically know to become a hacker. So the first thing is knowledge in OS. You have to have some knowledge in operating systems like Unix, Linux, and learn HTML. HTML is for web hacking. So when you want to hack the websites, basically all the websites are in HTML. So you should have knowledge in that, and few scripting languages like PHP and Python. And obviously you have to be a creative thinker to hack some websites. And a little suggestion is to make a habit of solving problems. So ethical hacking is to hack the websites ethically, that is in the right way. So the company which is hiring you as an ethical hacker would expect you to solve their security problems. So when they host their websites or application, what are the vulnerabilities and how can you fix it? So it's not just hacking it, you also have to learn how to fix it. So start writing open source software. There are many open source software. You can aid in writing them. So basically, we encourage all these open software writing and publishing informations in FAQ. When I mean FAQ, it's like Stack Overflow, Stack Exchange, and all those public forums, so that you will get contacts. You will develop more of contacts to know and to get to know how to fix the vulnerabilities, and to make contact with people who are following ethical hacking, and to get more information. That's the basic concept of publishing informations in forums and writing open source softwares. So these are the basic items, and today let's see what we are going to learn. So the first thing we are going to see is Google tricks and hacking methods through URL and Google data extractor and WhatsApp bot, Zomato data extractor, which is very similar to Google data scrapper, and FB auto post tool, that is actually an open source, and website hacking, and what's bug bounty, and what are the career opportunities that you have for ethical hacking, and to be very specific, offenses and penalties in Indian Penal Code. To know, because you don't have to put yourself in illegal activities, so you should know that. So let's see what are the phases of hacking. So these are the 5 steps in hacking or phases. So footprinting, as the word says, footprinting is nothing but getting information regarding the server or the system that you're going to hack. And scanning is to scan the system or server which you are going to get details, or going to gain access or information. So you don't want to hack a server that has nothing in it. So first you have to scan. So gaining access to the system. So once you gain, you have to maintain it until you get all the details. So the next step is maintaining access and then clearing track. You have to clear the track before you leave the server or system, or else if you could get their information, they could get your information just using the track. So, first, before going into the hacking, web hacking methods or tricks, you have to know how a website works. So, let's watch a video on that. So, if you see, just like we have names to identify us, the computers and the devices has IP addresses to identify oneself. I mean their self. So, but you cannot remember all those digits. It's really tough to memorize each digits. So you cannot Google with digits. So what they do is they give names to the IP addresses. So if you see, www.google.com is a name for the IP address so that you can remember it. It's easy to remember www.google.com rather than remembering that 195 dot some rather than remembering some digits. So the IP mapped to a name is what a domain name system or a server. The domain name server has all the names and their respective IP addresses. So if you see, once you give the name, if you Google a name or something, what actually happens is what we are going to see. If you see in the video, he's just giving the name like www.flamingos.ca and he's entering it. If you see, before he drops a sugar cube into his tea, before it drops into it, what is happening is what we are going to see. So if you see after that dot, when you give www.flamingos.ca, so after that dot, that ca is what the main thing. So that is the root server. So the first we have to find the ca server, naming server. So first it finds the root. So it is searching for CA name servers or .com servers or .in, whatever it is, and it gets the IP address of that particular name server. So it goes to the .ca server. Now, once it reaches .ca server, inside that .ca, there will be many other servers hosted. So it will ask for flamingos. So it is looking for the flamingos name server, and once it gets that IP address, it goes to the specific flamingos server. So in that server, there will be many files hosted. That is just like many applications hosted on the same server. So many applications will be hosted. So it has to find the right application and it has to load that page. So basically, if we don't give any name or URL specified to an application, it just loads the index.html. That's what happens. So that's why we always have an index.html in every servers. So the IP address is identified and the page is loaded before the sugar has been dropped into his tea. So the data is downloaded from that server. So this is how a website works. So now let's get into the phases of hacking, that is footprinting, the first phase. So here if you see, we have to get the information is what our first deal. So what are the URLs or the already available sites that will get us the server details? If you see, the first one is to get the domain information. Let us see, 1 minute. I hope you can see my screen. So who is domaintools.com? This gives us the details of the domain where our website is hosted. If you see, I'm just giving Facebook. You can give anything. So it will give you the details. How old it is. And this is the IP address it is being hosted. So like this, you can get the IP address details using this. You can try with any website you know. So this is for litstech.com. This is the IP address. So if you see here, you can get the IP addresses. Next thing is web history. We can even get the web history of the websites. If you see, what they do is they scrap your websites and they just archive it. This Wayback Machine is a site where you can see how Facebook or any other websites looked 10 years before or 5 years before or from the day when they have hosted it. So, Facebook has been launched in 1999 or 1998. So, they have done major changes in 2004. So, these are the snapshots that has been deployed on August 29, December 17. So, we can click. And you can just see how it looked on. Okay, this is how Facebook looked in 2004. You can even change it. So this is how it looked in July 2006. So you can see actually the changes, how gradually they have improved their websites or how they have modified it. So this is how, I think this one many of us would have seen, and this is in June 2016. And you can also see how it looks now. How does Facebook looks in 2020? Okay. And the next thing, okay, now until now we saw how we can hack the websites. Now this www.exploit.db, this gives like the hacker information or how they have the techniques that they have used to hack DBs. I mean database. So this is like they have had some WebLogic server. So who was the author? You can even get what is the platform and some SQL injections, cross-site, and you can get the details too. So these are the websites that you can refer to know more on hacking the databases. And it goes on. So we'll share this footprinting links to you. You can refer them. So next thing is scanning. So there are many softwares that you can use to scan the servers or the system. Majorly the inbuilt Kali Linux is used to scan. Other than that, we have Angry IP Scanner, Nmap, Zenmap, Wireshark, and etc. So Angry IP Scanner scans the available system between the input range you give. So when you give a range of 2 IP addresses, what are the systems available and what are the host names or like the applications hosted can be seen there. And Nmap is where it gives you all the information regarding a sister, like systems that the details of OS version, and what are the live hosts on that network. All those details can be scanned using Nmap. Whereas Zenmap is a user-friendly tool. The same thing. It also detects the OS version and the type of OS, and it also scans the port that is available. That is like a Tomcat server will be hosted in 8080 or some other ports. So you can get all those ports details like Node.js server can be in 4200. Like those port details can be scanned using Zenmap. And whereas Wireshark, it actually gives you the traffic on the network, the requests that has been passed or the packets that is passed through the network. All those network analysis can be done using Wireshark. So this is a screenshot of Angry IP Scanner. This is how it looks like. So you can see the host name and the port in which it is hosted, and even whether it is Apache Tomcat or it is Razenware, which server is used to host it is also mentioned here. Okay. Okay, so the most of the scannings, servers, everything we saw was Linux. This is something regarding Windows, so that I can show you how we can do it. wget is a exe or an open source available. You can download it. It is used to extract all the hosted files on a server of a website. So this is the command. Let me show you how it works. So I'm giving the command. Now I have to give the URL. Some URL that you can use. So if you see, it is actually downloading from psg.edu, and you can see the downloaded files here. You see, completely whatever been hosted in psgtech.edu is being downloaded here. This is how it works. So even if you have some, if they have hosted some PDFs, you can have it here. So whatever has been hosted there is downloaded. That's how this works. So I'm just okay. This is regarding wget, and next let's look into some Google tricks. So once you search for some news, like latest news in Google, if you see, I'm just giving. So I really do not know when this has been hosted. So if you see, it doesn't have any, filters to know or sort the latest news here. So what I can do is, at the end, I'm going to give this. So I can get for the past 6 hours. So actually this filter range is not here, but we can add it like anytime past 24 hours. Now if you want to change it to minutes and you don't want hours, so if you see n for minutes, so I can just give here, and I want details that has been posted 5 minutes before, so I can give like this, and I'll get for the past 5 minutes. So first you did not see 5 minutes as an option in the filter, but you can see it now. So the same works for seconds also. So you can use S for seconds, D for days, H for hours, and N for minutes. So why we are showing you this is basically you have to actually carefully watch all the URLs that's been provided in an application or something, so that you will get ideas to hack it or to get details or information regarding that. So these URLs actually play a great role in hacking and hacking techniques. So you always have to watch the URLs carefully. So now let's see about Google Data Scraper. So I'm going to show you a software that actually gets or extracts data from Google. So this is G Business Extractor. So I'm going to select hostel in India. Tamil Nadu, specific to Coimbatore, and I'm giving some pin code. So I have to select it. I'm going to click get data. So it is actually getting the data. I'll tell you what is the backend process until it gets the data. So if you see, if you're going to search hostels in Google, hostels in Coimbatore, so what it actually does is, so if I right click and give inspect, I can actually see the data in HTML form. Let me show you. When you give inspect, it's actually below in the developer tools, it will show you the HTML format of that page. So there you can actually see where the name is. So what the Google extractor will do is, it will get the page, it will get the HTML page, it will loop in for the correct div element where the name of the hostel is there. Like, can you see there the link? A is an anchor tag. So in anchor tag, what is the link that has been given? And in a div tag where the name has been given, if you see in the div h2, so the hotel name is there or the hostel name is there, so it will get the name from there and it will extract like each div and each anchor tag, and it will get it for us like this. So what is the category and what is the business name, where it is situated, and the address if it is given, all those details can be seen here. Even the link or website details is also extracted from there. So this is how Google Extractor works. So basically it is doing web scraping. So it is taking the websites and it is scraping or extracting the details only we need. It is just an automated tool. So this is how a Zomato data scrapper works too, but it's specific to Zomato site. So the next thing that you're seeing here is okay, YouTube tricks. YouTube tricks, you can watch our channel, Developers for You. So it's similar kind of Google tricks, but where you can specifically point to the minutes or hours in a YouTube video that you want to share. You can refer that in Developers for You channel. So next thing that we are going to see is WhatsApp bot. Okay, students, for your reference, we are actually sharing the feedback link. If you note down this feedback link, it will be also in description. If you could register this after watching the video completely, you will get an e-certificate for this ethical hacking online training from Twistin College. So kindly note down the feedback link or get it from the description link, from the description. So I just want to tell you this before we continue with the WhatsApp bot. Okay, so let's see what is WhatsApp bot. So WhatsApp is actually giving us API to send texts. Without using WhatsApp, I mean, you'll obviously for logging in, you'll use the web URL, yes, web WhatsApp. I hope you all would have used web WhatsApp. So behind the screen in web WhatsApp, what is happening is they are using web API. It is open for us to use from WhatsApp. So we are using that URL, if you see, it's on the screen, whatsapp.com send, and if you give the phone number, it will actually send to that phone number, the messages to that phone number. This is being provided by WhatsApp. So using this, there is a WhatsApp bot created. I'm going to show you that. It's basically like they have used Selenium behind the screen to get it done. So if you see, this is WhatsApp bot. Here you can import the numbers which you have to send. So from a text document, I'm importing few numbers to send, and if you see, the message tab is used where you will give the messages. And once you click send button, what will happen is, if you see in the left pane, you can see WhatsApp numbers. So you'll actually import WhatsApp numbers there, and it will have a for loop. It will get the number one by one, and it will pass you text to those numbers. And if it is sent successfully, you can see a tick mark, and if it fails, you'll see a delete or a wrong mark, so that you will know how many messages has been sent. So if you say I'm importing the numbers. So 3 numbers are imported, country code is given. So if you see in the left pane, you can see it. And I'm clicking send button. So once you give send button, it will ask you to log in from which number to send it. So it will automatically open WhatsApp web, and you can scan your QR code to log in. So once the QR code is sent, you can see it sending. It will take a while. Let's wait for a few minutes. So if you see, first it takes that number. It will actually type the message, hi, this is demo, and it will send. So if you see there, you can see sent. Now it takes another number, the next number, and again it types and it sends, and then there goes a tick mark. Once it is sent, there goes a tick mark. So this is how it works, and you will get a log, like if everything is done successfully, and you will even get the report of it. Okay, so that's WhatsApp bot. So we have FB post tool, that also you can refer to our YouTube channel. So there you can see how you can post to FBs automatically, and it is now available open source in Chrome extension. So the next thing is to be specific on what are the languages you have to know to become a hacker. So for mainly web hacking, HTML is the basic, as I said before, and JavaScript for client-side scripting, and PHP is for server-side scripting. These are the 3 major things that you have to know for hacking a website. And SQL language is basically for that exploit DB, as we saw exploit DB, to get the database details. And to hack a DB, you have to know SQL. And there are other languages like Postgre, MongoDB, and other databases that has been coming in recently are MongoDB, that is based on JSON documents. It's not a DB at all. It's like document storage repository, but it also falls under relational database management. So by using SQL injection and algorithms, you can do this. And when I say algorithms, I specifically have to I have to quote something like there are major attacks like Maze ransom virus that has been attacking. What they do actually do is they will get all your file details, and they'll convert it into some other form of extension like .kdoc. So our company has been recently attacked by that, and even Cognizant has been attacked by this ransom virus. What they do is they'll get the server details, they'll they'll encode all your files. They'll encode all your files into a format which you cannot open. All your files will be there, but you cannot open it. That's how it works, and it will attack all the like all the computers that has been connected to that specific network. That's how it works. And there will be only one text file that you can open, and it will be like you have to pay this much dollars to this account. They actually ask in Bitcoin so that you cannot trace it. Bitcoin is some other concept that you have to look into. It's like you cannot trace the transaction and to whom it has been passed, something like that. So they get the money in Bitcoins, and they'll just give you a trial or a demo, like you can check whichever important you feel as important. You send that file to us, and we will decode it and send it back to you, and only then you can send us the money. This is how they give the information in the text file. So those all works in algorithm based on decoding and encoding. They just encode your files. So next is like high level programming building tools that like the whatever automated tools that you saw, like Google Extractor or Zomato Extractor or WhatsApp board. This is all built-in tools, like automation tools, and they are built on Python, Selenium, something like that. So it's better to know at least any one of those building tools and scripts like Ruby, Python, Perl, Bash, and high level programming like C, C Sharp, Java, VB. All those other skills also is needed, and networking. So these are specific to skills. Next, what we are going to see is career opportunities. What are the career opportunities available for ethical hackers? So, ethical hacking is hacking in the right way. Please remember that. You don't have to put yourself into some illegal activities, and you really don't want to go to a prison, right? And these are the opportunities that is available. So you can become a security architect in IT, or information security officer and manager, security consultant, senior security consultant. All these are job titles. These are very valuable job positions because nowadays security has been become the major part. Wherever you go, like the data should be secured. Mm. So every company hires someone to secure their data and to, fix all their vulnerabilities in their web application or in their database or in whatever form their organization is putting forth in the public forum. So next is bug bounty. So if you don't want to really get into a job and work in a company and you are kind of a freelancer, then bug bounty is your deal. Bug bounty is something like the company actually offers some reward for the bugs that you find in their applications. So if you intimate them, like this is the So if you see, Intel provides a bounty link. Like you can go into this link and you can find the the bugs in that program that has been given, and you can even earn money for every bugs you find, and they also pay for fixing it. So a minimum amount of $500 and a maximum amount of $30,000 has been paid by Intel, and the same goes with Apple too. They also have provided a bounty link. And you also have a bounty link for Facebook. So you can use all these links to find the bugs and get paid for it. So next is offenses and penalties. So I'm just going to quote the major offenses that we are unaware of and we are doing it. So it's like tampering with computer source code is like you go and destroy someone else. Server or the source code that has been hosted. So for that you'll be getting an imprisonment of 3 years. And identity theft. This is like even if you use someone else Aadhaar card or some other identity of theirs, and you do some illegal activities, then there is an imprisonment of 3 years again. So even if you you know um, get someone like a password or you misuse the password of someone else, all those things come under this. And if you're publishing or transmitting some vulgar messages or anything, then you have an imprisonment nearly 7 years. And publication of fraudulent purpose, it's like if I say there was a scenario like a few months before in OLX, someone has posted saying that they are an army officer and they are going to sell their Royal Enfield, and there was actually no Royal Enfield and nothing. They just got the money and they just vanished. So all these things come under publication of fraudulent purpose. And even if you make a fake FB profile, right, that using someone else's identity, that comes under identity theft. So you have an imprisonment of 3 years for that. Mm. So these are few offenses and penalties. I have quoted only the major one that we are really unaware of and we are doing it. So you can see the number on the screen. If you want more details um, regarding ethical classes or anything, you can contact. So it's up on the screen, and these are our sites where you can find information regarding LitsTech. And again, the feedback link is on the screen. You can note it down. So using this feedback screen, you can, if you register or if you give the feedback before 26th, that is tomorrow, you can get the e-certificates for this online course. So please note it down, and this has been given in the description. So this is our Developers for You channel, where you can get more tricks and information, and this video is being hosted in this channel. So please subscribe. If you have any further doubts, please contact us. The number is on the screen. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you for your valuable time, and thank you for Christian College once again for arranging this session. Thank you.